Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Katie and Peter, for inviting me along today. And we're delighted to be part of the Wicked project, that's for sure. One thing I would say, listening to Katie and to Sue, it's really evident that you're at the cutting edge, because we're at the coalface. We basically work with some of the UK's largest REITs, and some of the information that Katie and Sue mentioned around. I think she mentioned about energy managers being basically understaffed, it being complex, not just about engineering, looking for solutions, and Sue's comment on MEPS, which is where we're focusing, which I'll touch on in a second, and how looking at other sets of data, be it lease information that we can bring in and help these organisations what can be a complex and under-resourced, understaffed aspect of their business. CO2 Estates has a software platform called Carbon Estates, which likes to think that we streamline that whole process, and we are all about the data. So it's interesting that Peter's sort of keen on that as well. So I guess just to start with, this is who we are. We're up in Glasgow. We've been in business for 18 months, and our company basically right now is focusing on working with real estate investment trusts, helping them comply with the risk associated to EPBD, focusing initially on MEPS, which Sue mentioned, minimum energy performance standards, and we're dealing with 2 or 3 large REITs, and helping them manage that risk associated with that forthcoming legislation. I'll just drop down the slide. So what we do, CO2 Estates is a software company primarily. And what we do is collate data around commercial real estate. That tends to come right now from energy performance certificates, which is the driver for MEPS and EPBD. And for those of you not aware, MEPS, it basically means, in a nutshell, come 2018, if you're a landlord and you have a commercial property or residential rated F or G, it can't be let, and you have to lift it out of that banding to improve it on an EPC. So the challenges that we came about from speaking to clients and working very closely with our clients is, first of all, the data. Do they have an EPC? Where is that EPC held? And more important, is it accurate? And we found that these EPCs, because they were commoditized fairly quickly, have become basically poor in terms of the quality of the data sat behind the EPC, and in turn, meaning the rating isn't always accurate. So, just to give you an example, with one of our REITs, what we were instructed to do was to go out and resurvey about 1,900 of their assets, which included what they classed as at risk, and they classed E, F, and G as at risk, and their unknown assets, so where they didn't have an EPC rating. Now, we're not an EPC provider, that's not what we do primarily, but what we're interested in is what's sat behind the EPC with all that data, because there is a lot of information sat behind EPC, and we're adding value to that product and helping these clients future-proof their portfolios in terms of risk associated with MEPS. So, to give you an example, this one REIT, we went out, we resurveyed 1,900 of their buildings, collected all that data, and what we do simply is put all that data, we start by centralizing the data within Carbon Estates, which is our software solution, which lots of these organisations don't even have that right now. So from a very simple concept of having the data in one place for reporting purposes is good and new, and we know it's accurate. Now we need a baseline of data that's accurate. So we can either collect new data ourselves, or we can use existing EPC data if it's there, and we audit it and make sure that the baseline of data is accurate. So once they've got that data, we then transfer that into Carbon Estates, which is the software and algorithms that we've developed internally, which, if you like, is like having 500 building surveyors, 500 M&E consultants, 500 sustainability consultants, accountants, all in this algorithm, which will take that data, and it will then tell the landlord what to do and how to do it, and the return on investment. So what to do to that building to improve it, to lift it out of risk, and the return on investment. So how quickly can they get that payback? Now, to give you an example, we've currently sat on about 4,500 sets of EPC data through SBEM. And we were asked about 6 months ago, SBEM is the calculation methodology that's used to create these EPCs, and it gets updated roughly annually with new versions. So to give you a power of our software, we actually ran those 4,500 data sets through Carbon Estates overnight through a latest version of SBEM to be able to predict what those ratings would be should they carry that data and run it through the latest version, which enables the client what's going to happen to that rating of that building should it be re-EPC'd. So, in a nutshell, what we do, we take the data, we run it through Carbon Estates, and it enables that landlord, it tells them the answers and what to do to the building, how to do it, very cost effectively through software. And we're all about the data.